Greetings, my fellow audience, newcomers. I'm Jake Allen Graham. That's my name. Name my YouTube channel set. Main channel name. And that's what I'm letting you know. I'm reviewing 2000's Amazing Spider-Man 2, with starring Andrew Garfield as his second outing and his last outing as a solo outing as Spider-Man. I give this a 10 out of 10. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I've talked myself into giving it a 10 out of 10 of a movie. It's not a home run like the first one was for me, like the best Spider-Man movie ever made, story-wise. For Peter Parker Spider-Man, like the first one was. That good, I thought. This movie's, it's not really up there to that standard. It's more up there to, you know Transformers, the 1989, the 1986 flick called Transformers the Movie, also known as Transformers the Animated Movie? You know Transformers movie called Transformers the Animated Movie from the 80s, the original 80s flick that tied into the first two seasons show where they killed off Optimus Prime in the movie? The main mascot of the first two seasons. What I'm trying to say is, The Amazing Spider-Man is more within the realm of the storytelling of Transformers, the movie, the 1986 flick. As in, it's more of a popcorn movie spectacle, and you gotta think, you gotta try to turn your brain off, because the more you think and ask questions of why Peter Parker is Spider-Man full time, the more you question the movie and why you're watching the movie. Because why is Peter Parker, like, you don't stop and think, you'll ask yourself questions, like, pieces of Spider-Man elements. If you have knowledge of Spider-Man comics, you will ask, why is he not absent, why the absence so absent in the movie? Like, why does Peter Parker, if he's now a graduate of high school, why does he not apply for a college degree or a job if he's just being Spider-Man? Other than that, he just doesn't have enough struggle in his life to make Peter Parker relevant to the role, relatable to the plot of the movie. Whereas in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, that wasn't a problem with the first one. I feel like Peter Parker was much handled well in the first one. It was Andrew versus the sequels. Andrew's all of them. It's just not existing with the Peter Parker persona, because he's 24 hours a Spider-Man hero. Does nothing. Sometimes he stalks his ex that he broke up with early in the film, Gwen Stacy, before she gets killed off by the Green Goblin, failing to save her in the act of hero duty as Spider-Man. During the third act, spoilers, that's how the movie ends. He comes out of retirement, takes on the Rhino, and we cuts away from the Rhino fight you'll never see the outcome of. Of Rhino fight in Spider-Man. I hope you enjoyed the trailer, what you saw in the trailer, because that's as much as the fight as you're going to see. What you saw in the promotional trailer of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I hope you guys enjoyed that, because that's as much as you're going to see of the Rhino and Spider-Man to be on screen together with him in the Rhino costume, played by Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti is great as the Rhino, before he's given little dialogue. But when he gets the Rhino costume, the skeleton costume they go for more modern era ideas, for comics. They adapt to make it exoskeleton, the Rhino costume, instead of a costume. So it looked cool. Rhino costume. It looks like they were teasing for the Spring go up against the Sinister Six, because we see a bunch of teased villains at the end of setting up, played by in the shadow figures, like recruiting people for Sinister Six against Spider-Man, I guess, to kill him or something, experiment, I don't know. It's like probably was going to be answered in the Amazing Spider-Man 3 that we never got. And never will get. Because we have Holland's run. That I'm not invested in at all anymore at this point. For Holland's run, Spider-Man. Andrews, I never stopped growing invested in. Even when the sequel did let me down a bit. You know, in terms of story act structure. In terms of spectacle and popcorn, quality fun, not at all. It didn't disappoint me in those areas. It's better to see the Spider-Man movie 2 sequel with Andrews ever is better as a popcorn movie than it is as a Spider-Man movie. As a Spider-Man movie, it's a mess. But it's still played by an actor who still tries to give it his all as Spider-Man and succeeds in the role. It makes me believe that he's still a good Spider-Man. Even if Maguire, I mean, even Andrew doesn't have anything to do with the Peter Parker half in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And less than Maguire. Compared to the trilogy with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 versus the first one. And the reason why I think that is because when I did some digging behind the special features, and I kind of found my answers, the filmmakers were more concerned in winning back the Raimi fans than continuing and develop Peter's story from the first one. That's why so much things, even though the tone's more comic accurate looking, that's why so much things are in there, and they don't know how to juggle the comic world versus their real world logic they use for the first one. So they're using the comic world logic, and they don't know how to juggle all these ideas to win back the Raimi fans that went for a more comical approach to the story. And they love even those who like people saying, and this was basically, okay, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, you gotta understand, was a kind of act, it was trying to course correct itself, was the first one. But in my opinion, I don't think they should have done the course correction, because it raised more questions than answers than giving you answers to Peter's story, and make you feel like he matured as a character compared to where he was in the first one, where he is in the sequel. Like, I feel like we didn't miss a whole lot. I feel like it feels more, yet I feel like we missed everything. It's conflicting what I'm trying to say. That's what I feel like, you know? I feel like I'm missing everything, but I didn't miss a lot at the same time. When I entered the sequel, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and finish it, how many times I've seen it, I feel like this could have been a lot better if the Raimi movies were never invented and the creators of the film were never guilt-tripping into winning back the Raimi fans instead of just continuing Peter's story from the first one. What they built up and continue on and tell a different villain and use a different villain for the sequel. That's what they should have focused on, okay? They should have more focus on their minds were really misguided. Their intentions were incredibly misguided on making the sequel to The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I think that's why they should have given more time to make The Amazing Spider-Man 2 before it got released. Because they were so, it seems like they looked too much on look too much into what the Raimi fans wanted from their trilogy, and they seem like they try and make this Spider-Man movie Raimi Spider-Man, but you see, that's kind of a problem. Once you try to you already have established who this Spider-Man is in the first one. And then you make a retcon course correct reboot sequel with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I haven't seen I try to course correct something for a sequel since Inspector Gadget 2 that was straight to home video release, when they got a different actor to play Inspector Gadget instead of Matthew Broderick for the sequel, Inspector Gadget 2. What I'm trying to say is that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 doesn't feel like a sequel to the first one. It feels more like a reboot of the world of Spider-Man, with a more comic book accurate look, paint job with the costume. Well, that's not enough for me. I want to give it a really good Spider-Man review. Make it really good, to say it's a really good Spider-Man. This is a really decent, good popcorn movie. But a Spider-Man movie is kind of a shit show, a bit at times. Mess. Times really good, other times really, mixed feelings I got to this one as a Spider-Man fan. I didn't love it like I loved the first one from 2012. Flick. I like this movie as a popcorn movie, as an action popcorn movie, but not really as a Spider-Man movie. I like it less as a Spider-Man movie. I still give it a 10 out of 10. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Good morning, afternoon, evening, goodbye, subscribe, like this video please. I hope you enjoyed this review. Till next time, bye.